Greetings from a room in Casa Freeride that is not the Cave of Grading. I'm not in that cave tonight, partly because it's too darn hot to be grading rationally. But I am here to discuss things that get graded, in particular student papers. I have this thing I do, which most professors do, having my students read primary texts, and then after they've struggled through the reading, they come to class and they get to hear me lecture on them. I value in my lectures because otherwise why not just buy the books? For a handful of the readings I assign over the course of the semester, I also make my students write short essays answering a question about the reading assignment that they are struggling through. And they hand those essays in before they hear me lecture on the material that the reading is on. My students actually tell me, look, we'd write you better essays if you'd let us write the essays after you've lectured on the material. And I suppose if I were interested in getting a stack of essays that more or less reproduced what I lectured on, that I'd be happy to do it that way. It's actually, I think, useful for them to really grapple with the reading before they hear my lecture on it. I think actually struggling with these readings on their own, the students are coming to my lectures ready to get the real important high points out of those lectures because they've laid some of the groundwork, I guess, from doing the reading. They come with more of a sense of what the storyline is going to be in the lecture and maybe more of a framework to put that storyline into. So I just think it makes the lectures more productive if the students come having not just run their eyeballs over every word in the reading until they get to the last page. And I'm not casting aspersions there. I've done it too. I think all students have. So another reason I do it is someday, and someday in the not too distant future, my students are not going to be students anymore. They're going to be out there in the world, and sometimes they're going to want to get information and insight from sources that are really hard to read. And it's not going to be the case that they have a philosophy professor hovering over their shoulder to tell them, here's the important point you want to get out of this reading. So part of the reason I do these write an essay about the reading, the hard reading, before I lecture to you about that reading, is to actually, convince my students that they're going to be able to do this on their own out in the world, to show them that they have the power to wring information and insight even out of very difficult readings, because that might be useful.